Going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and today we're taking a look at RandomX version 2. And what's going on here is ever since the Bitmain X5 emerged, there's been a lot of talk here about a possible new fork happening for Monero to a new RandomX variant, because believe it or not, or depending what you hear or see, you cannot build a CPU rig for the same price and performance of what the X5 is giving us. The hash rate and power consumption and efficiencies that Bitmain's X5 is producing just greatly exceeds any CPU mining rig. So cost of performance is very cheap and the efficiency is very good, which leads us to a lot of CPUs now cannot mine it the way Monero was originally meant to be by consumer grade hardware for more people to mine the coin. So that's where RandomX v2 is supposed to come in. So let's kind of look at the changes and possible timelines to this could be implemented. So underneath one of my posts here about the X5 being a block magnet when we were smashing up then solo blocks here, someone did post RandomX will change with the next Monero hard fork, with the X5 becoming less efficient and Ryzen CPUs and others becoming more efficient. You click on that link and there's a back and forth here between people, just like Reddit and forums are, but this is also coming from the XM Rig dev. So sec 1 here, the XM Rig dev does have a link to the GitHub, and it says that's not all the changes that will happen, but preliminary tests show that Ryzen CPUs will get about a plus 15% power efficiency boost, while the X5 will most likely be less efficient after this change. Again, it's saying most likely. We still don't know. Now, one of the devs, it's not this one, but I did actually point to their dev pool and they're checking out the X5, so maybe that's helping with the decisions here and how RandomX v2 is going to go. We don't really know yet. We'll find out. And then someone's asking, will it become backwards incompatible? And the dev says it will most likely be the same RandomX, just better fit for modern CPUs. It will require minor software updates. There will be no speed up. We plan to increase RandomX program size to get the same hash rate in the end. The point is not how many hashes per second you get, but how efficiently RandomX is using your CPU. And higher hash rate will require even faster, low latency memory, which is not the direction we want to go. And then here is a possible timeline when we could see this on Monero. And when will miners be forced to update? Before the next hard fork, the date is not yet decided, but sometime next year, I guess. So that's for Monero here. That's not when RandomX v2 will actually be released or ready for release. That's when Monero would be implementing it sometimes in their next hard fork here, and that's not set to happen until sometime next year. And down below, I did ask a question myself, is any idea when the actual algo will be released? I seen down below sometime before the hard fork, assuming XMR, but what about the algo for other coins that use RandomX in case new X5 firmware releases to open up other coins? In this case, I'm mostly referring to Zeph. I'm sure all you guys know that's the most profitable RandomX coin to mine on your CPUs right now, and it has been for quite some time, but the X5 cannot mine it. Kind of like what the E9 Pro has going on. With the E9 Pro, it's set for an epoch of 200. It will not mine anything newer than that under 200. That's why you can't mine Octa.Space and stuff with the E9 Pro. And this is kind of what's happening on the Zeph side, because it's a newer blockchain. It's at a much lower block height here because it started from 1, but Monero is way up there, and it's hard coded somewhere, so it can't mine a block height under a certain level. So that's why it cannot connect and mine to Zeph. You just get a bunch of rejected shares and stuff. So we don't know if they're going to release a firmware update or not, but when is the RandomX v2 going to release? The XM Rig dev does say here that RandomX v2 is not finalized yet. I hope it will be released this year. So previously we read up there about Monero getting it sometime next year, whenever their next hard fork is, but the actual RandomX v2 algorithm could be ready by sometime this year, which means if Zeph does want to implement it, they can, but obviously there's no reason to really do it. It does sound like the new Ryzen CPUs are getting a little efficiency boost here, but again, the X5 can't hit it, so it's not really that big of a deal. But again, efficiency could matter depending on the CPUs you have. So we'll just have to see if Zeph does adapt it. But I hope it will release this year. Then XMRig P2 pool and other pool software will update, and then we will need to wait at least 6 months until most of the miners update their software. So realistically, Monero can switch to RandomX V2 not earlier than Q3 of 2024. So it's a long time till Monero is going to see this, but smaller coins can switch faster, of course, if they want. So there's kind of some timelines for the RandomX V2, but how is the performance going to change? Now, we don't know how much the X5 will actually reduce in efficiencies. It is a very efficient miner, so it's going to be really hard to really drop that down, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see how it works. But when it comes to actual Ryzen CPUs and Intels, it looks like some of the Intels here actually lose hash rate. You can see here, old performance is 1.4 kilohash or 1,474 hashes on the current RandomX, and then the newest version V2 is 1,472.4 hashes. So it did lose like 2 hashes there in between. You know, no big deal, but it did lose some. But we can see here on the 5900, all the Ryzens here, 3900X, 5900X, 3970X, and so on, they are gaining hashes. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I don't know the numbers. I don't know how they're actually benchmarking this. So if someone knows how this is all working, let me know down in the comment section, please. But they're basing this off 2 threads. So take a 3900X for an example. That's 24 threads, 12 cores. There's 2 threads per core. So in theory, these are hashes per core because each core does have 2 threads. But I was working the numbers out, and this seems way too high of a hash rate just for 2 threads or for a whole core. So for an example here, if we take this 1,454.24 hashes per second, and that's based on 2 threads or 1 core, and I times that by 12 for 12 cores or 24 threads, that's actually 17.4 kilohash, 17,450 hashes, which is way higher than what 3900X's hit. You could probably hit those numbers, but you're probably using over 300 watts and melting something. At the highest I've ever hit with some CL14 RAM, about the 8 nanosecond RAM there, the G-Skill Flare X's, I did hit about 15,300 hashes, but I was over 230 watts to do so. So again, coming in at over 17 kilohash on a 3900X, I don't really know what these measurements are based on, but we are seeing an extra 100 hashes, almost over 100 hashes here per 2 threads here on that boost, which should put us around 18,737 hashes or 18.7 kilohash, which I really don't see us hitting on a 3900X without using extraordinary amounts of power. But it is showing that we're supposed to get more hash rate out of our CPUs. It's definitely going to come down to the power because they are referencing more towards the efficiency of these Ryzen CPUs over straight up extra hash increases. But these numbers are showing a little higher hashes. So we're going to have to wait for it to come out, do some benchmarking, testing out coins, whatever does plan to implement this. Hopefully Zeph does, so we can actually see the differences, or we might have to wait pretty much exactly a year, maybe longer than a year, till Monero actually implements this and see how it goes from there. But it does look like the X5 will be dominating Monero for at least another year to come. All right, guys, so that's pretty much all the information I currently know and got right now. If you know some other sources or information, let me know down, as well as everyone else in the comment section. Join the Discord. Let's talk about this. And what are your thoughts on RandomX V2 as well as Bitmain and their X5? Are we going to see new firmware? Is it going to be able to hit Zeph eventually? I really don't think it ever will, especially after they've been saying E9 Pro firmware is supposed to be coming. It's been how long since release now? A very long time. And they haven't done nothing with that yet. So, you know, I really don't see them doing that. They're really going all out right now with the new Bitcoin miners and everything. So I feel all these other ASICs are probably on the back burner because Bitcoin is their main ASICs, you know, money makers that they make here. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Thank you for checking out this video, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.